Well, welcome. I'm so excited about today. This is Sabrina Gibson. I'm with Imagine Wow, and we get to interview the coolest people on the face of the planet. And certainly Wendy Robbins falls into that. If you haven't heard of the Tingler, you might recognize it. I don't know if you guys can see this. She's the co-inventor of the head tingler, which I love it. And she also, right now, she's got an amazing story of where she went from being completely in debt to generating $20 million. And she's now helping people avoid getting bank loans and helping them leverage crowdfunding. And you're going to learn a whole bunch about crowdfunding today, so that they can actually fund their dreams, which I just love. Forbes actually has acknowledged Wendy as one of the top influencers in the world as it relates to crowdfunding and social entrepreneurship. You may have seen her on TV. She's co-starred with Kelly Ripa, and she was a business coach for women inventors in a TV series called Homemade Millionaire. So, Wendy, I'm tickled to have you here. No pun intended. Tingled.
Yeah, tickled. You're tingled to have me there, right?
Well,
I have that effect on people.
Well, everyone feels good around you, I'm sure.
Orgasmic.
Yeah, there you go. How did you earn the right to be a crowdfunding and social entrepreneurship expert?
Well, it's funny. I actually want to talk about something a little different than crowdfunding, and I'll talk about crowdfunding if that's okay. Sorry to mess you up just a tad.
No, let's do it.
Surprise! No, with crowdfunding, what happened is because I've been in debt, and trying to get a bank loan is like almost impossible, right? So this idea of large groups of people investing small amounts of money in exchange for gifts just floored me. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So we created something called red capes. So think of two supermen in their red capes, redcapes.com. And we wanted to make everybody a superhero, the people that donate and the people that need the money. So if anybody needs money, it makes it really easy for anything that they've got. So that's really important. And then in addition, something that I'm doing that I love is we help bloggers and content people and social networkers monetize their influence. And so, we could talk about that too, because I know that speaks to your tribe.
I love it. Really, honestly, I hope we get to have you on again. So, really today, let's keep it wherever you want to go, and we'll talk about it, because I know you're a wealth of knowledge, and let's tap into that.
Right on. I'm here as long as you need me.
I love it. Well, you're amazing. So, tell me a little bit about your, just your excitement. What did you want to talk about besides crowdfunding today?
Well, I want to talk about this thing because I think that you have a lot of people who monetize or have social networks and are like, how the heck do I make money from that? Or blogging, or they just have websites and they've got really good traffic and they're using AdSense, and that's it. And they're like, woohoo, I'm set. Because it's complicated if you do something other than that, to find out who are the advertisers. So, for instance, we deal with 40,000 different advertisers and brands. And so over the last, I'd say like 5 years, mostly my partners brought in $25 million to all these different sites. And most of them were guys. And we started thinking together, wouldn't it be cool if we could help women, particularly moms, single women, be able to make money from their sites? And so we hooked up with all these advertising agencies. We got our own ad server, our own traffic manager. It all sounds complicated, but we can maximize money for people. And so, I just think that's the coolest thing in the world. So pretty much anyone who's listening and watching us could, I could help them. I could help them make money, and it won't cost them any money.
Wow, Wendy, that's really cool. I love it. What would you say the top 3 problems are that you solve for them?
Well, I think most people aren't geeks. And if you're not a techno geek, it's really difficult to do what we do. So we have a really good team that takes care of all the stuff that's so difficult. And then I think that time, people are like, wow, it'd be so cool if I could make money on my blog or my site or my social networking, but I don't have the time to know what to do. And then I think that if there's a lot of mistakes that can happen. There's so many steps. So you can blow it. And if you blow it, it's expensive. It's a bummer having to learn all that. So I think we figured all that out. And so those are the problems we solve.
And can you, for those of you, for people who are maybe watching that don't really know your backstory, can you share it because it's so inspirational?
Cool, yeah. Well, when I was a teenager, I left home when I was 14, and then so I became homeless at a certain point, lived in my car for a while, made some really bad mistakes, sold drugs, did, all these things that I do not recommend. Do not try that at home. And then, straightened myself up, and the Tingler came into my life. I was a documentary filmmaker, actually, for 13 years, and loved it. But, documentary films, it's not like you're going to retire wealthy. And I always had this dream, like, wouldn't it be cool if you could come up with a product and you could bring it out to market and you could market it and, all like that. And so the Tingler came in, and that's, it changed my life and changed, my job was to tingle the world. That's what I thought I was doing. And so, if you could give people goosebumps and make them laugh every day, it's a legacy.
I have to tell you, I think I told you before we went on air, I carry about 10 of these in my bag at any given time and hand them out because they are so fun. I mean, it's just so clever. I just love it. And I love what you're about. I mean, every time I've ever experienced you, you've just always been a giver. I mean, you just are always looking for ways to enhance business's life. And I just really love that. You are really a champion, I think, in this space. So I really appreciate. I wanted to let you know how much I appreciate you. So Wendy, tell me this. What's the number one way that you're solving these problems? So I get the fact that you have this really amazing system that you make it easy for people to make money. What's the number one way that you're doing that?
I think we're just, the way that we're doing it, the number one way is we're doing all the stuff for you. So it's like I have ways to teach and coach because I love doing that. And at the same time, what we're doing isn't fun. I mean, it's just step and then step and then step. It's like a gazillion steps, and you have to follow through, and you have to, monitor, and you have to understand metrics, you have to understand math, and you have to, Excel spreadsheets and traffic management. So there's a lot to it, right? And so I could teach it, and I could bore the heck out of you. I mean, really, literally, watching grass grow is way more interesting. Well, actually, I like watching grass grow, so that's not a good example. But, the point being is that it's just so, it's a pain in the tuchus, so you might as well just hire somebody to be able to do it. And then I thought, okay, well, a lot of people don't have the $7,500 to $10,000 a month retainer that typically we would charge. So then I was like, okay, well, my partner and I talked, and we said, well, what if we did a revenue share? So there's no upfront. We'll take care of it all for you. So I think that's the number one thing is, don't think you can't make the money. Start making the money now. Like, figure it out. And if you have an aptitude to geekdom, go for it. Then I'll teach you all the steps. But if you're more into like, you know what, I don't want to do that. You do it for me. Then we'll do it for you. And so I think it's a blessing. I think it's like a prayer answered. When I talk to women in particular, they just feel relieved, and we feel relieved, and it's like a win-win. And I don't know, it's sweet. I like it.
Amazing. I love it. I love the easy button.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what we decided to do. It's like make it easy. I mean, the one thing you have to come, if we work together, is traffic, or you have to be an influencer. Like, if you have a good social network, you need to be able to bring that to the table. And now my dog is here. She hates being on camera. I don't know if you can see her, but if you hear panting,
No.
it's not me. It's her.
Oh, I see a tail wagging, actually. That's all I see.
It could be my tail wagging. It's possible. I'm extremely happy to be here. And I'm puppy-like, apparently.
That's awesome. What's one tip that you can share with people that would make a difference for them?
I think the biggest thing you can do is to start exhibiting your influence. Start trusting yourself that you are an expert, that you are an authority, that you're someone cool, man. You're just somebody that people would want to hang out with. So start bringing your tribe together and communicating and talking with them and engaging with them, and build that as much as you can. And the same thing with your traffic. Find really organic, authentic ways to bring people to your site, because to work with us, for instance, or to monetize any of your stuff, you need to be able to do that. So, find ways that are just that are comfortable for you to be able to do that. And I think that everybody here can do that. So that would be number one. And a lot of us wait, or we're like, oh man, I'd love to post, but I'm not going to today. And we wait. Don't wait. Communicate. Hook
Mm,
up. Find out what problems your tribe has, and then listen to them. Listen to what they need, and really see if you're somebody that can solve it in a very genuine, really full of integrity kind of way. And if you can, then so be it. Then great. You guys should work together.
I love that. Great advice. Yeah, I think a lot of people are putting off, um, I guess, really social media. I mean, they're kind of putting it off, or they're kind of doing social media, as we say. They have a toe in the water, and those are great. I think there's a window of opportunity, and people don't realize this, of social media, and it's closing very quickly. It's not that it's not going to be an opportunity. It's just going to take you 2 or 3 times more the effort than it does right now to make it happen. And if you've got a way to monetize it, even more so than what they can get from doing social media, I think that's hot. That's really hot.
Totally, totally. And the cost of entry is like Zippo, basically. Get a free Facebook, get your Twitter, get your Instagram, get your Pinterest, and then just start hooking in again those people that really are your people, your hive, your love, so that you're communicating in a way that everybody's like, woohoo, I can't wait to check in and find out what you're about, and then you find out what they're about, and then you can make those offers, and you can people will believe you and trust in you and give value, just make sure to be really cool, be somebody that they're always like, wow, that person's a giver. Like you complimented me, and I appreciate, my heart really opened when you said this about being a giver, and that's what that opportunity allows you to do, I think.
That's so cool. Well, we like to ask this question, or I like to ask this question to everyone I talk to, and that is, and there's no right or wrong. We don't judge here. So,
Okay.
How would you define social media?
I think it's what we've just been talking about. It's like really connecting in with your tribe, and I use the word tribe a lot because I just like it, I guess. I live in New Mexico, and tribe somehow just comes to me. It's to be able to inspire, to share. My tail is coming close to me, I think.
Your kitty cat, yeah.
Past me, and, it's funny, she hasn't been in for like hours. Now she's like, Mom, hey. My other guy, he's coming up like, woohoo! But it's about an ongoing conversation, I think. It's instead of like the old model was very male, it felt like to me, and I'm not man bashing, but I think it's not about pushing, it's not about forcing anything anymore. Now it's about a dialogue, just this really ongoing dialogue, and in that dialogue, if you're selling something, it's like bringing somebody to action, because you've developed enough of a relationship that they really trust you, they believe in you, and so because they believe in you, they're gonna be okay with your reference, your ratings, your reviews, your if you say this product is great, it's like, wow, she thinks it's great and she's cool, so yeah, I'll give it a try. And that's, I think that's good. And I mean, the bottom line is, we all trust friends more than we're going to trust an advertiser message or an advertising message, right? So your social media, if you can monetize it, it makes sense to me. Does that make sense?
Oh, I love it. I think that you totally nailed it. I mean, I think it's about building trust. I mean, my dear friend Bill Gann says social media is really crowdsourcing for trust. And I think that's a really great way to define it, because, and that's really exactly what you just explained, was using your gifts and your experience and your know-how to really communicate that with others that appreciate you.
Yeah, totally. And then what's so cool is being able to use so much different kinds of media to express yourself. So, for me, I like video. Other people are like, wow, I don't want to be on camera, like I couldn't even do a Google Hangout. Well, okay, so that's not right for you. But there's other things that are good. There's videos. There's so many different ways to express yourself and to be creative. So it's not a dull marketing message. It's really how creative and how inspired and inspiring and engaging can I be, and then being able to send that message through all your all your media platforms.
Sorry, my other computer decided to come on all of a sudden. You've got pets, I've got computers.
Believe me, my dog's coming, your thing, my phone could ring. But that's what's so cool about live, right?
I know, isn't that great about living just, transparent?
Totally. Like I told you, like something's in my right eye, like a little mascara. So, I'm trying to pretend like I'm just completely comfortable, but I've got, and so it's just what it is. Live TV, man.
I know it. I know. I was telling you too. Every once in a while, you feel like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm all right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you look? Am I good? Yeah. I hear that. I get you. Right. And then I noticed like I was petting my dog, which means I was bouncing all around. So.
Oh, you look great. I think that's what makes these so fun is that, we don't have to like be all, so tell me, Wendy, how are you today? We can
Exactly.
just be loose and be people and connect on that level.
But that's the social media. That's the whole thing too, is the social. This just be authentic. Let if a boogie needs to come out, let a boogie come out. Mascara dripping down your face, it's just what's up, at that particular moment. Doesn't make you any less cool. It's just real. It's just real. And that's
I love that. I had the highest compliment I got was from an 8-year-old, a friend of ours, son. He said, "You're really weird in a good way," to me, and I was like, "Thank you. That is so nice."
I love it. It's like my nephew's like, "You are so silly," and it's like, "Woo!" like, yeah.
I know. I always feel like the GPS says, "You have arrived." Like I'm like, "Cool.
Right,
Where did you
exactly.
get away? On time." Well, how are you using social media for your business? Because you got so many cool things going on.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have sister companies really, and so we use it in different ways. So, for instance, with our crowdfunding, it's a way to monetize your social network. So really, what it is finding people who care about causes, people who care about stuff that matters in the world, people who are activists and change makers and different kinds of influencers that way. So that's how I use my social media, is just conversation on what makes a difference in the world and how to support each other to make a difference. That's one. The second one is called Tingle Tribe. And Tingle Tribe is something new we're doing, which is we're a matchmaker between top advertisers and brands and content people or creators, influencers again, bloggers, people that have good Pinterest following or good Twitter, Facebook, etc. Then these brands want to reach out. Instead of doing traditional advertising, they want to know authentically what's the experience that you've had with their product, and they'll pay you to reach your people. And what's so cool about that is if you really feel like, wow, I really love the product, I would do it without money even, then great, then it's a great fit. And so we it's totally free. You just go to tingletribe.com, and I'll give that information if you want later even. And essentially you just sign up, and advertisers can find you. So if you're reaching a certain demographic that they want to reach, like moms or single mothers or women who love to cook or organic or whatever, there's always somebody who wants to reach that market. So that's the way that we use social marketing that way. So that's our second business. And our third business is Tingle Network. And what we do is we deal with advertisers in a different way. And that's like display ads, video, things like that, things that are on your main website or mobile, more like that. If you have a lot of video, then we can monetize that. So the way that we work with that is we're really looking for people that have that kind of influence and are really aware of social. So for instance, we just did a deal, my partner just did a deal that's going through on Monday, where the person was interested in the main website, but they said, what's their social network? What's their influence? What's their clout score? What's their, how many people really pay attention to them? So that is becoming more important, and more advertisers are interested in again, it's like in being involved in your feed, being involved in your conversation more than that really, like we were saying, like a formal display ad, that none of us ever click anyway.
Mm-hmm. Truly.
So that's how we use our social networking in those different ways.
How exciting. I mean, really, just got your finger on the pulse, or I said finger, I usually thumb. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's cool, and it gives you a chance to like work in your pajamas like I do. You know what I mean? My favorite outfit is my pajamas.
I'm not
And
wearing
so,
any pants right now, so it's awesome.
yeah, there you go. I actually
I got shorts on. I'm just being silly. I have done interviews in my underwear before.
I have too, and then I've had to get up, and then it's like, oh God, I'm totally spaced, like, complete silliness, like my nephew would say.
Oh, that's great stuff. Well, what would be the number one thing that you would recommend people using social media for their business?
I think it's like we said, it's really about if you have that influence, like if you already know that you have engagement, and if you don't have engagement, start engaging. Start connecting with people, liking what they're saying, following people of influence. And so there's lots of ways you can even look for ways to find people of influence, and start really connecting with them. As a matter of fact, the Forbes magazine, where I got that really cool quote, comes from me, actually my partner, going onto their Twitter, connecting in, looking at their articles, just reaching out, then reaching out to our 20,000 followers, and connecting with him and stuff. And then he said, "Hey, I'd like to interview you for Forbes." And then we got one thing, and then he was like, "Hey, come speak at my event." And then the next thing came about, like, "Hey, let's write about you in Forbes magazine." So it's like that's another way to use your social networking. So connect with the people who have influence, and so that you have that back and forth, and that way you're ready to go. That way, if we do work together, and I say, what's your influence, you're able to say, I've got some really strong influencers in my tribe that I can reach out to spread the message of certain brands or advertisers, and that's our focus, is sponsored. I call it social sponsorship.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the coolest pieces of I have three partners, and the coolest piece of advice came from one of my partners, and he was saying, get in touch with your publicity people, get in touch with people who are writing articles or connected in magazines or radio shows and stuff, and he said, and reach out to them online, which you were saying, and I was like, wow, that's such a great idea. Why didn't I think of it? And it's just such a brilliant, easy concept to just have
Totally.
conversations. Yeah.
It's the easiest way. Now there are ways to do that, and then you can find people of really strong influence, and I mean, all things being equal, you want to connect with the people who are in your niche or your community, who do have that kind of influence, who can reach out, so that if you do want to change the world, for instance, which is one of my goals, then it makes it easier. It makes it easier for me to connect with Ariana Huffington, with her influence, than my best friend. I love my best friend, but out of the two, Ariana can go to places where I can't quite, with my particular influence, go yet. And so that's
What? Wendy, you could go anywhere.
that's how I can go anywhere. As a matter of fact, my rocket ship is waiting for me. I'm about to do Venus right after this. Got to have some more love.
Well, I'm pretty sure that your initials are WWR, because I'm sure that your middle name is Wow. I find myself saying that with you, but how are you putting the wow in your business?
I think because we pay it forward. We're a women-run company. We're both teachers and coaches, so we're more accessible, more available, more helpful than what I find in the industry. And again, my partner Karen Paul is much more established than I am in certain parts of this. And so, I know from talking to her, there's nobody that does what we do. And I think it's, people are really resonating with us paying it forward. In other words, it's a lucrative business we're in, and we're really blessed, and so that's got to be part of it, and giving to good causes. So to me, that's the wow of now. That's the toe curling. That's the stuff. It's like living a daily legacy. And so if every day we could live a daily legacy, which might even look like, whatever, we gave $5 to well, I'm actually giving an example. Like even somebody raised $50 to help people in the Himalayas to bring food up to them, to trek food up. $50 is like no big deal. So I want to give a really small example, but to me that was just electrifying. That people that I don't even know on the planet got helped by something we were able to provide, and I wouldn't have known them. And so that's the thing that we can do. All of us can do on a daily basis, is be in service, be in gratitude, and pay it forward.
Wow. Beautiful example. Amazing. Of course, you got me to say wow.
Answered your own question.
I love it. Well, I am excited. I would love to have you back. I want to learn more from you, as always. I mean, I've been a huge fan of yours since we met. I mean, I just found myself just constantly thinking, man, she's cool. So I would love to have you back again if you're okay with that, and I'd love to learn more about what you're up to, and I know lots of people have requested more information about crowdfunding, and I don't know anybody better than you, so I'd love to have you back, and maybe we can go in a little deeper conversation around that.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just do a total session on crowdfunding, and maybe if you want, you can even reach out using your social network and ask what the top questions are. From people, and that way if they're not on our call live, then they can ask the questions and I'll answer them. And we can even say their name, or like, whatever Susie asked, and
I
then
love
answer
that.
right? So we'll
Right.
totally be in service to them. That'd be great.
Okay, cool. Well, I thank you so much. How can people get in touch with you, Wendy? Because I'd love for everyone to connect with you.
Cool. Well, if you're somebody that has, like we talked so much about social networking, so tingletribe.com is a great way to connect, and you can sign up right there and then let us know about your influencers, no cost, and you'll hook in with all these different advertisers, and we have about 50 sales reps that go out and actually have agency meetings and get martinis, for lunch. So if you want to support their habit, no, I'm kidding. No, I just thought of Mad Men, and I had to just laugh at advertising. But they have your interest in heart, and so they go out and pitch on your behalf. So that's fantastic. So that's one way if you have a social network. If you're somebody that has a lot of traffic on your website or your blog, and you're really like at least 100,000 page views. If you don't know what page views is, then look it up or whatever. But meaning that you've got some decent traffic, then we can help you, and you would go to tinglenetwork.com. And you've been seeing that actually under my name, tinglenetwork.com. Write it down, honestly. If you write it down and then you let me know that, and it'll ask you a couple questions, answer the questions, I will give you a strategy session. Just a totally free $250 value strategy session. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not, obligating you to anything, none of that. I just totally want to be in service, and if you fit with what we're up to, then we can work together. So
Wow.
that I think is
That's generous. You're
And
amazing.
then red capes. The last thing is red capes, and we said that before. REDCAPES. So I know I'm giving you a lot, and just write it down. Redcapes.com. And so think of again those two supermen, red capes. And that's if you're crowdfunding. If you're somebody that wants to raise money for a good cause, and something we're going to be doing, and Sabrina, you and I will talk about this later, is nobody else is doing it, contests. So again, because we have so many sponsors, we can get a sponsored message or get a sponsor to help you with raising money for good charities or your own purpose, and then a contest. So a lot of people can get involved in helping you raise money, and so that'll be. How about we'll have another conversation about that?
Yeah, let's do. That's hot. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much. I always learn so much from you, and you're always reminding me just to give, and then give a little bit more. And I love that about you. I just love what you stand for in this world. It's just amazing. So I hope to have you back, and thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sabrina, and thanks everybody for taking your time. You're busy, so thank you for being here. It means you're special because you want to learn, don't you think? I mean, most people don't like learn extra, so it's like you're cool.
Very cool. Yeah, and you make it fun to learn, so I really appreciate that. Well, this is Sabrina Gibson. I'm with Imagine Wow, and as you can tell, we get cool experts that have lots of generous gifts, and I hope you come back and see some more of our interviews with cool people like Wendy, and see Wendy again, too. So thanks again, Wendy.
Thank you. Bye.